Well, Lee, let's go back to where it all started. Not you,
No.
but Brydens. Where did it come from?
Early 1970s, Ian Edward Bryden, graduate of Sydney University, he was told, go west, young man, and that's exactly what he did. So he ventured out and he found office premises in Liverpool. He opened up his first practice out here. Some of the stories that Ian could tell you about the early days where he would take on any type of work that was available. Many of his clients couldn't pay, of course, so he would be paid in kind. Fruit, vegetables from all the the local farmers and whatnot. And he told a story once how he got paid in a live chicken, but he refused that tender and he gave the chicken back and he said, "I'll take some eggs," and they delivered the eggs. But that's how it all started, and very, very humble beginnings to where it is today.
Now, from your end of things, to start as a lawyer out of university, from a migrant family with a takeaway shop in Everlong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Near where I live now.
Yep.
It's a fantastic place.
God's country.
Back when you were a kid,
Yep.
it wasn't exactly what it is today, Everlong, was it?
No, in the early 1970s, I think we moved up in like late 71. No curb and guttering, no street lights, no sewerage. I can remember the truck would come around, I think once a week and empty the sewer pits. It was very different, but looking back on it, Ray, I think it was the best thing my parents ever did. Raising a family on the Central Coast in the 70s was bliss. We were 50 metres from the water. I'd walk along the water to go to Everlong Beach Primary School each morning and catch up with good friends of mine and meet on the beach, walk to school. It was just a different way of living, and I think it really instilled in us a real community sense.
Now, from a takeaway shop as a boy in Everlong to the principal of a large law firm, when was it determined, and I imagine your mum and dad would have been bursting with pride when you said, "I'm going to study law"?
Yeah, very much so. It's really hard to think back how it all started, but the earliest memory I do have is of a TV series called Petrocelli. Now, I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
He was a lawyer, and each week he was charged with solving very difficult and complex cases and saving innocent people from being charged with crimes. And I thought to myself at the time, I said, well, that looks pretty glamorous and interesting, so I might be a lawyer. And I'm sure at the time I didn't even understand what the term meant. It stuck though. All through primary, through high school, I didn't want to do anything else but practice law.
Okay, so you start as a lawyer, and then all of a sudden, you go from being a lawyer to being the principal of one of the largest law firms in this state, if not the country. So how does that progression work?
Well, I started with the firm in 88, graduated from Sydney University, College of Law, answered an advertisement on the bulletin board for a job at Brydens Lawyers in Liverpool. At the time, I'd never heard of Liverpool. I didn't even know where Liverpool was. The only thing I knew about Liverpool was there was a really good EPL team, and that's where the Beatles came from. That's the only thing I knew. So I ventured out here, I interviewed, and I was offered the position. Sliding door moment, initially I was employed to do family law and criminal law. And at the last minute, they decided I would go and work with Ian Bryden and do personal injury law at the last minute, and that's what led to where I am. I remained a solicitor for the 5 years, and then they offered me a partnership at the age of 29. I wasn't expecting, in fact, I thought my career path may have been a little bit different. I always thought I was going to end up at the bar. I was going to do 5 years, go to the bar and then practice from there. But the offer of partnership came too good to refuse, and at 29 years of age especially, so I took it. I had to buy in. Had to borrow some money, and I was very, very fortunate and very grateful to my father who put up his house as security.
Really?
Yeah, so that I could buy in. I remember having a conversation. He said to me, "Lee, if it doesn't go well, what do we do?" And I said, "Well, you'll lose your house, I'll lose mine, and then I'll have to do what I have to do." But he put the house up as security.
The 1960s, Liverpool. My great aunt and uncle Jack and Pearl Freeburn, lived in Olive Street. I used to come out here every Christmas Eve and spend Christmas Day with my grandparents who travelled out the country.
I can only imagine what it was like in the
Well,
60s.
when I drove to your offices recently, I looked around at this metropolis. That's what it is. I mean, high rise everywhere, left, right and centre. And even that little street just down behind the hotel is now high rise as well.
No, absolutely. It's come a long way. And of course, now we've got the airport to contend with. That new airport at Badgerys Creek falls entirely within the LGA of Liverpool. So the next few is going to be exciting times out here. And well, I've been here since 88, Ray, and haven't felt motivated to go anywhere else.
Well, I've got a connection as well, apart from Uncle Jack and Auntie Pearl on my mother's side. My grandfather, Thomas Dixon, returned from the war at about 43 or 44. and had a drink at the local pub and was run over and killed. He survived the war and lost his life probably 200 metres from where we're sitting at the moment. So
that's true.
I mean, it's a place that has been part of my life. I never met him. I was born well and truly after he lost his life. But it is funny how Ian would come here all those years ago, and now it's not far away from being the centre of the city.
Well, Ian was born in Yorkshire, North England. He had no idea. Comes to Sydney. They were based, I think, originally in the Shire. And as I say, graduated from Sydney University. He spoke to someone there about careers, and they said the west of Sydney is growing. They're looking for lawyers, they're looking for professionals. And so he ventured out. He married a young girl he met at university. She was doing arts and education, became a school teacher. And they ended up renting premises in Bass Hill, a garage at the rear of someone's house in Bass Hill. And coincidence, my first house was in Bass Hill. So I followed Ian's career path just 25 or 30 years behind.
And then if the ATC get their wish, you'll have this magnificent Warwick Farm racecourse.
Overdue.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, well, look, without getting into the politics of it, but it'd be wonderful if you did have that facility.
Great facility.
Yeah. Now, as Principal of Brydens, it carries a great responsibility. And obviously every day you come to the office and the responsibility goes to any number of lawyers, support staff. It's a big operation. And I guess it comes with some, not worry, but a commitment that you've got to be here every day fronting up to lead these people.
Absolutely true, but comforted in the knowledge that I am still enjoying this today as much as I did 37 years ago. Coming to work's no issue for me, no stress. I like to be one of the first in and one of the last to leave. And it is right, I am the principal. There's no board of directors, there's no partners, there's no one else. However, I have a great team. A lot of good seniors, a lot of great people that work here, do a phenomenal job, been with me for a long, long time. And they wouldn't be here unless they enjoyed it themselves. They found it professionally and personally rewarding, which I think is the case.
So let's go back to the very beginning, starting here all those years ago. What sort of lessons have you learned over that 3, nearly 4 decade period about leadership? And are there examples you can rely upon where older men and women than you probably took your side and said, look, this is the way we do it, this is the way it should be done?
Absolutely. Leadership style is modelled on what I learned from Ian Bryden himself, the mentor and the, as I say, the namesake. But there's also a young barrister by the name of Andrew Liddon that I attached myself to. He was just starting his way out in the profession as well, and our careers coincided, so he became my barrister of choice. There was no more ethical, professional, dedicated solicitor than Ian Bryden, and there was no more capable and fierce barrister than a young Andrew Liddon. So I got the benefit of being mentored by both of them. But from my perspective, what I've been able to learn is that you just got to be true to yourself and true to the cause. We are advocates in the truest sense. I know people think about the profession and we rate poorly when they do those sorts of surveys about who can you trust, who can you not trust. I think we might come just behind real estate agents. But at the end of the day, we are advocates. And when someone finds themselves in a spot of bother, the first person they call is their lawyer. And so people have to understand that we give voice to people who cannot speak for themselves. And I think if people understand that and are committed to the cause, then they're halfway there to doing a great job.
What sets your firm apart from other people in the same field?
I believe that we are unique, but having said that, I would never denigrate or demean a colleague or other members of the profession. So to speak highly of my firm though, what I've seen and having been the only firm that I've ever worked in, is our dedication and commitment and passion for the client's cause. Focus on the service that you're providing to these people. We might have thousands of clients. We act for a large number of people. But from their perspective, they've only got one lawyer. That's all they're interested in. Their case, their claim, whatever it might be. So you've got to focus on that service, that professionalism, and looking after their interest. Once you do that, everything else then falls into place.
And I guess with all that experience, with you at the helm and all the other people that support you, you get results for those clients because that's what you're here for. You're here to service them.
Absolutely. When you stop and think about it sometimes, you think about the cases that we've run, the number of cases, number of people that we've helped over the years. It really is rewarding and very satisfying. But as I say, you've got to stop sometimes just to smell the roses and realise how important what we do is to these people. But you are right.
But you see, the law, as a layman, is a complicated process. I've been involved in some rather notorious cases, mainly defamation.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
No doubt you are.
No,
I've won some, I've lost some.
True.
But the ones I thought I'd win, I'd lost, and the ones I should have lost, I won. If you know what I mean.
No,
Not
I
always.
understand.
So it must be juggling 12 or 14 balls in the air at once, because you're at the beck and call sometimes of a jury, of a registrar, of a district court judge, even a local court magistrate, Supreme Court. So to have such a good record in terms of results for clients in a very difficult set of circumstances.
No, I agree. I think it reflects, it reflects on the quality of the people that have worked here, the quality of the solicitors that we employ, the quality of the mentoring, the supervision, the instruction and education that they have had. But overall though, overarching all of this is the philosophy of the firm, its commitment to expertise, to looking after the client's interests, doing the best that we possibly can. The results flow from that.